Imagine coming home after a long day, your heart sinking as your young kids chatter about secret trips to grandma's house. You know something's off. Your wife's eyes dart away when you ask. Then, one click on the computer reveals the gut-wrenching truth. She's been betraying you with an old flame. But this isn't just a story of heartbreak. It's about turning pain into power and delivering a revenge so precise it shatters the cheater's entire world. Stick around, because by the end, you'll be cheering for justice. If you've ever felt the sting of betrayal and fantasized about getting even in a way that's smart, calculated, and utterly satisfying, this one's for you. Hit that like button if you're ready for some serious karma. Subscribe so you never miss these Reddit revenge tales, and let's dive into a story that'll have you hooked from the first whisper of suspicion. Way back in the early 2000s, life felt like it was on autopilot for me. I was in my mid-30s, grinding away at a steady job to provide for my family. My wife, Sarah, let's call her that for the story, and I had been married for about 8 years. We had 2 amazing kids, little Emily, just turning 4, with her wild curls and endless questions, and her big brother, Jack, 6 years old and already a mini-adventurer, always scraping his knees on some backyard quest. Our home was a cozy split level in the suburbs, the kind with a swing set out back and family photos lining the mantel. On the surface, it was picture perfect, but underneath, cracks were forming, and I could feel them widening. It started small, like most betrayals do. The kids would come home bubbling with stories about their days. "Daddy, we saw Grandpa's new puppy today," Emily would squeal, her tiny hands waving excitedly. Jack would nod along, adding details about cookies at Grandma's. At first, I smiled. Sarah's parents lived about 90 minutes away, and it wasn't unheard of for her to drop by with the kids on her days off from her part-time gig at the local bookstore. But then it ramped up. 2, 3 times a week? That meant hours on the road every time she wasn't clocked in. My gut twisted a little each time. Why the secrecy? Why the extra miles? I remember sitting at the dinner table one evening, the smell of spaghetti sauce filling the air, steam rising from our plates. Sarah was across from me, twirling her fork absent-mindedly, her eyes fixed on her food. "Hey, the kids mentioned another trip to your folks' place today," I said, casually, trying to keep my voice light. Her fork paused mid-twirl. She looked up, a flicker of something, guilt, crossing her face before she forced a smile. "Oh no, you must have misheard them. We just ran some errands." But her cheeks flushed, and she wouldn't meet my eyes. Sarah was never a good liar. Her tells were obvious, like a poker player with a nervous tic. That night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling fan whirring above, my mind raced. Is she hiding something? Am I being paranoid? The doubt gnawed at me, a constant ache in my chest, like a weight pressing down harder each day. I couldn't shake it, so I started paying attention. I'd note the odometer on her car before leaving for work, a reliable old Honda Civic, nothing fancy. By week's end, the miles didn't add up. 400 extra? That was no quick errand run. My heart pounded as I jotted down the numbers in a notebook hidden in my desk drawer. She's lying. But why? The kids were too young to fabricate stories, their innocence a stark contrast to the growing storm in my mind. I felt powerless, like I was watching my family slip through my fingers, and the injustice of it burned. Betrayal isn't just about the act, it's the disrespect, the underestimation that you'd never catch on. I loved Sarah once, deeply, but this was eroding everything. Then came the breaking point. One afternoon, I sat down at our clunky desktop computer in the den, the screen flickering to life with that familiar AOL dial-up screech. There, stuck to the keyboard like a gift from fate, was a yellow sticky note. Her password, scrawled in her looky handwriting. My hands trembled as I typed it in. Should I? This could change everything. But curiosity and that simmering anger won out. I clicked into her emails, my breath shallow, the room suddenly feeling too quiet except for the hum of the fan. What I found hit like a punch to the gut. Exchanges with her college best friend, casual and cruel. "Oh God, Bob's still got it. We meet up a couple times a week, lunch, then the motel. His wife's let herself go after the kids, all frumpy now. Makes me laugh." My vision blurred with hot tears, but I forced myself to read on. No details on Bob, just enough to confirm. My wife was sleeping with her high school ex. The words swam on the screen, mocking me, twisting the knife. I printed them out, the printer whirring like an accusation, and stashed the pages in my safe. My hands shook as I folded them away. How could she? With our kids in tow to her parents' cover? The betrayal wasn't just sexual. It was a total disregard of our life, our vows. I felt small, humiliated, like the fool in my own story. But beneath the pain, a spark ignited. Resolve. I wouldn't let this destroy me like my parents' cheating had wrecked my childhood. Endless fights, divided holidays, siblings caught in the crossfire. No, this ended differently. I needed proof, solid and undeniable. A buddy from high school, now a cop, pointed me to Ron, a former detective turned private investigator. "He's the best," my friend said over the phone. I met Ron in a dingy coffee shop, the aroma of burnt brew hanging in the air. He was grizzled, no nonsense, with a notepad and a knowing nod. I handed over the emails and what I knew, Sarah's routines, the mileage. "I'll get you the truth," he said, pocketing my retainer check. Days turned into a tense wait, my nerves frayed. I'd pace the living room at night, imagining the worst, my stomach in knots. Ron's report arrived like a bombshell. Photos. Sarah dropping the kids at her parents' modest ranch house, then driving to a greasy diner for lunch with a slick-looking guy, Bob, mid-40s, smug smile, wedding ring glinting. Then the motel, a rundown place off the highway, peeling paint and neon vacancy sign flickering. Times, dates, locations, all documented. I stared at the images in my car, parked in an empty lot, my fists clenched on the steering wheel. This is real. She's throwing us away for this? The fury boiled, but so did the plan. I hired a divorce lawyer that week, a sharp woman who laid it out. We focus on the kid's best interest. The affair? It won't sway custody much, but it'll strengthen your case. But I wasn't done. I dig deeper on Bob. He delivered. Bob was married, 3 kids, VP of sales at his father-in-law's mid-sized manufacturing firm, lived in a house owned by her parents. Perfect. The pieces clicked. This wasn't just about my pain, it was about fairness. Bob had a family too, and his wife deserved the truth as much as I did. I had my lawyer draft the papers, the legalese, cold and final. One more favor for Ron, extra copies of the report. Then, the day came. Heart hammering, I pictured Sarah at work, stacking books when the process server walked in. "Sarah Thompson, you've been served." Her face, I could imagine the shock, the color draining. But the real strike? Ron met Bob's wife that same afternoon. Let's call her Lisa. From what Ron said, she was kind, unsuspecting, a stay-at-home mom with a warm smile that faded as she flipped through the photos. Tears welled. Her world crumbled in minutes. What she did next? Up to her. But oh, did she act. As my divorce plodded, civil, focused on the kids, Bob's life imploded like a house of cards in a storm. Court docs, all public. Lisa emptied their joint accounts, packed the kids, and vanished to her parents. Her dad, furious at the betrayal, axed him from the company. No golden parachute, just the door. And the house? Evicted. Bags on the lawn under a drizzling sky. Their divorce turned vicious, screaming matches in court, restraining orders flying. One night, Bob showed up raging, pounding on the door. Lisa's brother stepped in, fists flew, and Bob's nose cracked with a sickening crunch, blood streaming down his face. Police reports piled up, harassment charges, jail stints. He spiraled, broke, and alone. I felt it then. The release. Not glee, but validation. Justice. As I signed my own papers, the weight lifted, my shoulders straightening for the first time in months. Bob? Vanished from the internet. Rumor has it he fled the state, a shadow of his former self. Lisa? She thrived, stepping into her dad's business, retiring him with grace. Stories like this remind us, betrayal cuts deep, but karma has a way of balancing the scales. Sometimes the best revenge is simply shining the light on the truth and letting it do the work. What do you think? Does justice always find its way? If this tale of sweet, calculated payback had you fist-pumping or wiping away a tear, smash that like button and drop a comment. What's the most epic revenge you've seen or pulled off? Share your stories below. We love hearing them. And don't forget to subscribe for more Reddit revenge gems that hit right in the feels. Turn on notifications so you catch the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.